Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Melinda Colaizzi. She is the founder, creator of Women Who Rock and Pitch Consulting. She's based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. How are you doing today, Melinda?
I'm doing fantastic, Brad. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. The sun is shining, so it's a good day. And I just wanted to thank you for agreeing to be part of this movement that I'm creating and agreeing to be a guest on my podcast. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
So, Melinda, you've been working as an exec for as an exec for quite some time, over 15 years with some pretty big companies such as Live Nation, Ticketmaster, ShowClicks. Can you tell us a bit about your career as an executive?
Yeah. And I always go back when I answer this question to the music, because really music has been the foundation and the calling that really carved out my career, both on the music side as a performer where I started, and my passion really was twofold. I discovered in college that I really was interested in the music business side of the industry as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad actually that I did focus in on the business side of it too, because it's just been such a valuable tool to have throughout starting things like Women Who Rock and kind of guiding me through some of those companies that you just said. But going back to the initial question, I studied at Berklee College of Music.
Okay.
It was a very unique program that you studied performance on an instrument. That's how your actual application is evaluated into college. But you pick a track, and my track was music business. Okay. So while I was in Boston studying at Berklee, I did an internship with Aerosmith.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was
very cool. An intern with Aerosmith. How did that work?
Well, actually, they really were one of my most inspirational artists as a musician, and having the opportunity, it was with an arm of an organization that managed their day-to-day. So it really wasn't, working kind of on the road with the band per se. But after I saw it, all the behind the scenes structure of how you manage a tour and how you market a band and the day-to-day business side of it, it really made me want to focus more on the music business side. So after Berklee, I packed everything up and I moved out to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And I spent about 5 years in Los Angeles. I worked with Universal Records, and I worked with Live Nation Entertainment and their national sponsorship division. And I think, being an executive really gave me some of the structure that I've been able to utilize. I've been 5 years on my own as an entrepreneur, which I know we'll talk a little bit more about, but it gave me the foundation to be able to break out on my own and really structure something after the corporate side of my career.
That's pretty wild. I mean, as artists, typically, you being a musician, I'm a photographer, and people in the arts in general, from what I've heard and what I know of people, they tend to shy away from the business part of things and don't want to deal with the business side of things. They'd rather focus on the art. And for you to jump right in and decide that you want to focus on the business part, that's very rare, I would think.
It is. And, I think it's some of the reason why I still perform to this day. I always tell people it's my passion. It's part of who I am. I will never stop creating music. But I think it's also part of the reason that when I was kind of evaluating which way my career was going to go, when I was in Berklee, I was actually in this awesome all-girl band that got a record deal with Epic Records.
Very cool.
Being on the road and the grind of being a working musician, I look back now and I never wanted that part of it, I think. So
really?
yeah, I love performing. Like I said, it's something that I still do quite a bit, but I just think I was maybe not 100% cut for that lifestyle.
Yes. I mean, let's be honest, you have to be a certain type of person to be able to do that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Living on a bus and living in hotel rooms and
yeah, it's really, people think it's glamorous, and let me tell you, it is not a glamorous life.
What was the name of the band you're in?
Mass Ave, because we all met on the corner of Berkeley, which is the intersection of Massachusetts Avenue and Boylston Street in Boston. So that was our name.
Very cool. I love Boston. Boston's such an amazing city. I love it there.
I agree.
Boston is a great place. And the Bruins are from there. That's my team. So anyway, so you're also the owner of a consulting firm called Pitch Consulting. Can you tell us a bit about your firm and what that's all about and what you do? And
we're a boutique agency based here in Pittsburgh, but we work with clients throughout the country. And our focus is really on sponsorships, events, and marketing. And we focus on how we're going to amplify your message, how we're going to amplify your brand, or maybe it's an event that we can really kind of help you. One of the things that I love to do the most with my team is sit down and do a brainstorm and just throw every idea, no matter how big it is or how crazy it might sound, throw that up on a whiteboard and explore things. And I think that that's something that sometimes people are a little bit afraid to do. So that's something that I like to take my clients and, learn what their vision is and then kind of take it even past that.
Right.
And see how we can kind of help them think outside of the box as well.
Okay. So what types of clients do you have? Is this all focused on the music business? Is it all enveloping like corporate everything, or what is it?
It's been a little bit of both.
Okay.
Definitely worked with independent artists, and we've worked with a lot of music festivals on their sponsorships.
Okay.
Packaged together and activations around sponsorships. But we've also worked with organizations that are more medical based and, like you said, just more corporate.
Yeah.
But definitely entertainment is our wheelhouse, but we do work outside of that as well.
Very cool. And how long have you had Pitch Consulting? How long has that been running now?
It will be 5 years I'm talking to you in September.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What was your inspiration to start the consulting firm?
I have to be really honest. It was something that I've always been a person that for career business decisions, thought about or taken my next step in a very safe move. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And as some of you may or may not know, Pittsburgh traditionally is a very blue collar city. And I came from a family that hard work was always something that was really important and it was really instilled into me. But, I never really, honestly, even knew what the opportunities were as an entrepreneur. I just was never really, I wasn't really set up in my childhood to think like that. It was always like, get a stable, safe job and
benefits and all that stuff, right?
Exactly. So, Pitch Consulting was something for the first time in my life. I said, I'm just going to shut that side of my brain off.
Yeah.
And, at that time, it was a really scary decision to make, but I knew that, and this is a piece of advice, especially because we talk on your podcast, which you do so well, is really help women get the message, right, and get inspiration. The inspiration was just to try something and just go out on that limb and do something. So that's how it all started. And the other thing, going back to kind of that inspirational message, was at my current position I was at that time, I knew I was not growing anymore. I knew that there were no more advancements for me, that the company, I had grown to the level. And I think that that's a really important message for anybody, whether you're a woman or you're a man. Once you stop growing in a position, it's time for you to move on. And I knew that I had to move on. I knew that, and at that point, really, I didn't even know. Now I look back in my life and I know I always have been an entrepreneur at heart.
Yeah.
Again, I just never knew what that meant. And now I look back and thank goodness I took the jump, because possibilities have opened up that I could never even have conceptualized or envisioned.
That's amazing. Yeah, you got to know when you hit that ceiling, and it's, as you said, it's time to move on and let go and move on to something new. And yeah, of course, entrepreneurship is scary as all hell, but if you don't try it, you'll never know.
So true.
And I think also that entrepreneurship gets romanticized quite a bit. And I was just speaking with someone about this on a podcast interview earlier today. And the fact that failures aren't spoken about enough in entrepreneurship, it always gets glamorized and how amazing it is and all the rest, but there's also downfalls to it too. It's failure, and not that failure is a downfall. I think failure is a good thing because you learn from it, but there are downsides to it, and that doesn't get talked about enough, I think.
I totally agree. And the other side that does not get talked about, and I don't want this to come across as a complaint, but my work-life balance has been thrown out the window.
Oh, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And I can never turn it off. I don't have PTO days. I don't get to take days off that often in my career. And I think that's a really great point that you just made. Yes, there are some amazing benefits that come with it, but it's a lifestyle commitment too. And you're right. And some things just fail and you have to learn from them and move on. But I agree 100%.
Not everybody's cut out for the entrepreneurial life. It takes a certain type of person to be able to do it. And I think as well, people go into entrepreneurship thinking, oh, this is going to be great. I can make my own hours. I don't have to work when I don't want to. And no, this is like having 2 or 3 full-time jobs. People don't realize that. But if you love what you're doing, you'll put in the work and push and forge on to make it successful.
Yes, for sure.
So speaking of ventures, and you also are the founder and creator of Women Who Rock. Can you tell us about that organization and what that's all about?
Women Who Rock developed from taking that chance. Developed very shortly after I went out on my own with pitch consulting.
Okay.
I had the idea for Women Who Rock for quite a long time, actually, because what you were asking me about being a musician and then also being in the business, there are things that became very clear to me on the performance side of the music industry. Being in my band, I'm the lead singer. I also play guitar. So from my days of when my career was a little bit more performance-based, that I had been seeing a lot of times, we were the only, especially being in an all-girl band, we were really one of the only all-girl bands that every single woman could really, really play their instrument.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, the only female on a music festival lineup. And then I also saw it when I was more in the entertainment industry in LA. A lot of the C-level positions at these record labels and, big music corporations, it was a boys club.
Yeah.
So I started to really see that disparity. And then about 5 years ago, there was a study. It was the first study that was ever released that was focused on women in music. And when I read that study, I had been brewing on doing a concert that was 100% of a female showcase.
Okay.
And that study came out, and I was so taken back by this study, because while I knew that there was disparity in the music industry, I had no idea the actual numbers that this study really presented. So that fueled my fire to really think about, let's make Women Who Rock a reality. And then there was one defining moment that like I said, I'm from Pittsburgh. I moved back here to take a position about 10 years ago now. And I discovered that Pittsburgh is the home to our nation's largest research institute dedicated solely to women's health. They're called McGee Research Institute.
Okay.
It's fantastic. McGeeWomens.org. I really encourage everyone to check them out. And I was sitting in a fundraiser for a friend of mine hosted a breast cancer fundraiser because that's their core elements of research. And I started to hear all the same disparity in women's health. And I thought, wow, if we could create a movement and a concert that would take the two messages, women in music unite to rock the future of women's health, wouldn't that be a powerful way to get the message out there to raise funds for understudied and underfunded health research that affect women, not just here in Pittsburgh, around the entire world?
Yeah.
And I decided, hey, I'm going to take a chance on this and do a concert that was a very small venue here in Pittsburgh, the Hard Rock Cafe. And let's see what happens with it. And here we are 5 years later.
That's amazing. So do you do these concert benefits every year, or what's the deal with that?
We do.
Awesome.
Annual benefit concert every year.
So what are some of these stats that you found? Can you tell us a bit about the stats that you discovered when doing your research?
Yes. For the women in music part of it, some of the stats that we found were the one that really resonated with me across music festival lineups. When you're looking at the lineup, only 19% of the lineup is either a female-fronted band or solo act.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
In terms of the songwriting industry, less than 6% of female songwriters had 6 or more credits across the time frame. And especially when it comes to female producers, there has never been a woman that has won a Grammy for being producer of the year.
What? Yeah. Holy shit. That's crazy. So it is. It's exactly like the corporate world. It's still a boys' club in 2020, which I think is pathetic.
And that's why I knew we had to do something to not only get the message out there, but the thing that I found through my work at Women Who Rock is female musicians don't feel like they have a community, and they feel like they have access to other female mentors in the music industry.
Wow. Well, I think it's amazing what you're doing. And it's funny that we're talking about this today. On the weekend, I was listening to a 70s station on Sirius XM. And so on the weekend, I think it's every Saturday, they play back the Casey Kasem American Top 40 charts for that weekend or that week. And they were talking about the charts in this particular week, and the name escapes me right now, and for the life of me, I can't remember it. But the point of it is that he was speaking about this band. They had the number one song for that week in the charts back in 1978, I think it was. And they were talking about the band that had the number one song, and there was a female bass player and female guitar player in the band. And he was talking about how the women of the band couldn't believe back then that when they would go on stage, the audience was just in awe. They would sit there with their mouths dropped open because they couldn't believe 2 women were playing the instruments. And that was often the case, that they thought that the women were playing to tracks, that it wasn't real, that these women weren't really playing their instruments. It's like, that's just insane to me.
Yeah.
Like it blows my mind. Yes, back in the 70s, of course, it was more of a man's world then, but still, to think that 2 women would get on stage and pretend to play like, come on. It's just ludicrous to me. And I don't know that still is the case nowadays. I don't think it is, but I think nowadays the problem is a lot of bands do play to backing tracks and they're not really playing their instruments, or they're not really singing, but that's a whole other ball of wax. But just to say that we're talking about women in music, and the fact that this story popped up on the weekend to talk. I wish I could remember the name of the band, but it's a 70s disco band anyways. And the women were viewed as, no way are they up there playing those instruments.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so what were some of the stats on the other side of Women Who Rock with the health issues? Can you talk about those?
Yeah. One of the things that we discovered, that another stat that I was just, what you just said, like, can this really be real? Was that until 1993, women weren't included in a lot of the clinical trials when it came to the research. And in terms of, we talk a lot about this when we're talking about the health side of it through Women Who Rock and what McGee is doing, but women's health has been understudied, and women are obviously very different than men for reasons, but most of the health research sidesteps the sex differences. And what they would do is they would study men and then they'd apply the findings to women. So
That's insane.
Yes, exactly. So when McGee Women's was established in 1992, that was their focus. It was to focus on women's health research and make sure that, a study that's happening on a man that's 6 foot and 180 pounds isn't then getting translation to a woman that's 5'5" and 125.
How could that even happen? I don't understand. There's no logic there. How could that even happen?
I don't know.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Jeez. That makes absolutely no sense. You're doing a study on women's health, but you're using men as the subjects to test on. Wow. That's just, I have no words for that.
And that's why we felt the same. And that's why we thought sometimes it's, I think sometimes when you're talking about health and health stats, there's a little bit of fear behind it sometimes, especially, we're talking about some of the scarier stats with cancer and, heart disease is the leading cause of death in women. A lot of women do not know that. So I think sometimes that message is fearful, but when you deliver it through music and you have a concert and you have somebody performing like Sheila E., who has performed Women Who Rock, and you bring together not just women, I will say too, we have a ton of men that attend our concerts. This is not an organization or a concert that's about bashing men at all.
Yeah.
And so when you have everybody in this room and you have this message of music and making a difference and empowerment, which is so much part of your podcast, how we're going to do that. The music delivers that message in a way that takes all the fear out and makes it a really powerful night about making a difference.
That's amazing. Music is such a powerful, powerful tool. I mean, you think about it, music, you can relate to so many things in life. You hear a song and that takes you back to a time or to a memory or it's an incredible, incredible thing. It really is.
There's nothing like it.
No, absolutely not. I love it. So, Melinda, with Women Who Rock, it's on various platforms. It's on Instagram. You have a website. And I've seen you personally doing interviews on Instagram with musicians. What is the purpose, or what are you using these platforms for with regards to Women Who Rock?
We have done a few things. We have done the IG Lives with interviewing female musicians, and we've done some live streams. We have a really exciting partnership for the month of October that we'll be announcing next week that will have a focus on some virtual concerts.
Awesome.
So we're really excited about that. And then we have been actually over the last couple months coming up with a Women Who Rock merch line with a portion of proceeds benefiting McGee Women's Research Institute. So we're really excited about getting that up and live. And, we've also used the platform as a way, for example, right now we have a campaign running with Cycle Bar, which is a really big indoor cycling studio across the States. And actually they're across, I think, a few countries. But we've been able to share both of our social platforms as a way to put some statistics out there about September is National Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. So showing some of the stats and some of the amazing developments that McGee Women's is doing to help with early detection and, help find a way to make sure that disease can be non-existent someday in the future.
Amazing. I think it's incredible. Not only do you get the enjoyment and the entertainment of music, but you also you get educated. It's a win-win.
Thank you.
Amazing. So now you yourself are an award-winning singer, musician, your band, Melinda and the Night Sky. How long have you been part of this band? How long has the band been in existence?
Well, I've been performing my entire life. Well, I should say at least since I was about 15 years old.
Right.
And have been creating music in the past. Well, we talked a little bit about the band I was in, but
yes.
After that, I went mostly as a solo artist under my name.
Mm-hmm.
And it just didn't feel right anymore. And there's been an incredible group of musicians that we've been collaborating with. And while the band has elements of people that change in and out, we wanted to set up the band so it was more of a collaborative effort. So we just released, the name is somewhat new, actually, within about a year. And we just released a single under the band's name, and we have another single dropping October 2nd. So we've been playing with the mixed musicians for quite some time, but the actual, I guess you would say, organization of the band and getting everything set up has been more of a recent development.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I've heard the first single. It was great. I look forward to hearing the next one. You have an amazing voice. Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
So who are some of your musical influences?
There are so many. Some of the top ones have been Etta James, Bonnie Raitt, Sheila E. has been a big one, and having the opportunity to work with her through Women Who Rock has just been so incredible. Aerosmith had a huge impact on my career. And then a lot of blues artists like Helen Wolf and Muddy Waters, Sister Rosetta Thorpe, they've all been influences of mine as well. And it really is, while my music tends to go more the blues rock genre, really, I appreciate any type of good music. I love jazz. I love classical. I love hip hop. To me, if it's good music, it's good music.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you alluded to, or you said, music has always been a part of your life forever. Did you grow up in a musical home?
I did not.
Wow. When did you pick up the guitar? When did you first pick up the guitar?
I was 13 years old when I first started to learn how to play.
Wow. And no one in your family played an instrument, sang a tune, nothing?
No, I will say there was always really fantastic music playing in my house. My mother loved live music and would be playing Frank Sinatra and the Rolling Stones and Luther Vandross. So I always was around fantastic music, but no actual musician.
Okay. Now, I know every artist has their own process when songwriting. Can you tell us a bit about your process when you sit down to write a song?
Typically, I start with a title, or I'll start with like a riff on the guitar or a few chords. I rarely ever sit down and write lyrics first. For me, it tends to be the music and a title, and then up to the 11th hour trying to finish all the lyrics.
What is the most exciting part about being a musician for you?
Performing the songs live with my band on a stage in front of people and seeing people react, or just have an emotional connection or something about the way a certain guitar chord's played or a certain lyric, just having it have an emotional connection to them. That's the best part of it.
Okay. And what is the most exciting part, since you wear many hats, what's the most exciting part about being an entrepreneur for you?
I would say the most exciting part is when the project grows and being able to look back, and we actually just had a moment like that this morning in a meeting that I was part of, having Women Who Rock, and we typically, our concert is our signature event. Not being able to have that this year was probably the hardest part of being an entrepreneur for me, to answer the other side of that question. But looking ahead and knowing that, okay, in that moment when the concert was canceled, I could have just crumbled. But we found a way to, honestly, with these two partnerships that we have right now, they're huge national partners that are behind us. It's as impactful as having a one-time concert. It's probably more, really. And so I think that, when I'm able to look back 5 years ago when I had this tiny concert and had no clue if anybody was going to attend, to now 5 years and doing partnerships with Cycle Bar and being able to, talk about my journey on podcasts, and we had another national article just released today about Women Who Rock. Being able to look back on that, it's incredible.
Amazing. What is your 5-year plan for Women Who Rock? What's the next 5 years look like to you?
I would like us to raise a lot of money and really have a huge national footprint. I would like, people all around the world, not just, where I'm from, talking to you today in Pittsburgh or the United States. I mean, I really want this to have a global impact.
I'm sure it will. You're off to a damn good start. So
thanks.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful?
I think the act of doing. I think, whether I know what I'm doing or not.
Sometimes we don't. We just jump in and figure it out.
Sometimes we don't. I mean, I've never interviewed anybody in my life. Jumping on Instagram Live every Wednesday night and learning how to interview people. The first couple were horrible. I was frozen. I was nervous. But you know what? Now it's like, it's natural and I love it. And I'm talking to people. So I think that it's just doing it, right? People have great ideas all the time, but they don't necessarily always execute them for a number of reasons.
Fear is probably one of the bigger ones.
Yes, most likely.
Interviewing is definitely it's an acquired skill. It takes time to learn how to do it, and I mean, because you got a lot of things you got to figure out and think about. You have to, the guests, the people you're in, have to feel comfortable, and you have to do your best to make them feel comfortable through your conversation. And you want it to sound like a conversation, not like a drill of question after question after question. So it's definitely a learned skill for sure.
Yes.
And learning as you go. I mean, learning is part of life, so it's always good. Sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind, jump in head first, and just figure it out as you go. That's the best way.
That's the only way.
Well, I think so. What was a turning point in your life, and how did that turning point affect you?
Oh, that's a good one. There's a few, but I would say when I went to Berklee College of Music, that was a turning point for me. Being around the level of talent from all over the world, being exposed to different cultures and different styles of music, and just in that space that was all about creativity 24/7. I just feel like that set my mindset in a different way that made me think differently for my entire life past that.
Awesome. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
That's a hard one. I think that because there are so many different things that I think that you feel like or successful elements.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think, I really think the ultimate definition of success is being able to do what you love every day.
I agree. Monetary and all that, sure, that's all great, but that And so many people do associate monetary with success, but I personally don't. It's being able to do what you love and enjoy your life, because again, we're only here for a short time, and why do you want to be miserable working at a job you hate? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you want to find something you're passionate about and you love? And no, it's not easy, but if you really want it bad enough, you can do it.
Yes.
What did you give up to get where you are today? What did you have to sacrifice?
Well, I think when I think back, you know, a lot of keeping the music career going forward was ending your workday and, you know, going straight into practicing or being creative. And then same with the weekends, you know, gigging, or especially with Women Who Rock. I mean, you know, we do events on the weekends outside of the big concert. So I do feel like maybe some of the time to devote to friends and family that I really have given up to focus on some of these things. I think that's probably the biggest sacrifice.
Okay. To date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
The greatest one.
Have I stumped you?
I don't know if there's just that one greatest win. I feel like, honestly, it's been a combination of these little moments that have painted this bigger picture of where things are right now.
The smaller pieces of the puzzle come together.
I do. I feel that more than just one defining moment.
Okay. What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I really feed off of other people's energies. So I'm really inspired when there's a new concept, or, you know, being an event planner is very, very creative, and putting these partnerships together as well. I feel like I'm my best self and I'm most inspired when I am being creative, whether that's being creative on the music side or being creative on the business side with my clients. I love collaborating. I love, you know, thinking about new ideas and seeing them come to life.
Collaboration over competition. For sure. Every time.
The collaboration part of it. And, you know, we all have our times that collaborations don't work. I mean, I've definitely been there before. Somebody's not thinking like you are, or they just don't. Sometimes people just like to think safely, right?
Yes.
And that I get very frustrated with. So that can be a part of my work that is maybe not so inspiring.
I mean, when it comes to collaboration, you have to be on the same page. It's just, and if someone's scared to take chances, and I don't know, I know that risks are scary, but again, it goes back to, you know what, you only have one life. Why not try it? What's the worst that could happen? It fails. It doesn't work. So what? Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, try something else, try something new.
Yeah, and that's a hard place to get to.
It is.
And I've been lucky to have enough people, and I will say too, I mean, about the collaboration part, I've been really lucky that I've had a handful of people that have been mentors to me, that have believed in me, that have continued to inspire me, that will continue to say that what you just said there. If I did not have those people, I absolutely would not be in a position of where I am today.
Right. Well, again, I think, with entrepreneurship, that goes back to having a support system. That is absolutely, above all else, key. That is one of the most, if not the most important thing when you're going into business or starting a business or entrepreneurship. You have to have a support system.
And I think sometimes when you're an entrepreneur, you think about your solo, right? I mean,
yes.
That's the definition of it. But you're not, because what you just said is so important.
Mm-hmm. And people are more than willing, I've found anyways in my journey, to help out. All you have to do is ask. And that's part of the problem too, is people don't want to ask because for fear of rejection, or they don't want to put people out, or they don't want to bother people. But if you don't ask, you'll never know. And I've found anyways that people are more than willing to help out if you ask.
And I love that, what you just said, because I'll never forget when Sheila E. came here to perform at Women Who Rock. I forget what we were talking about, and she said those exact words to me. And I've always carried that with me, especially coming from somebody like her who I've to my entire career. I've always carried that with me very, very closely.
Excellent. So speaking of advice and whatnot, what would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
I think along those terms of just asking and not being afraid to ask for what you want, ask for what you deserve, ask for your value. Nobody's going to give you anything. So you really have to be an advocate for yourself.
Awesome. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
Let me think on that one for a second.
Take your time.
I really think, and we've kind of talked about this a few times within this interview, but just learning that you can think outside of a mold, or a box, or actually, this just came to me, and I think this is so, so important. I think one of the greatest pieces of advice it's going to kind of go against it, but is not to take advice from people that you don't see as an equal or where you want to be. Or, I think back to some of the bad advice people gave me, or the advice that people told me that I was going to hate music college, or, oh, what are you ever going to do with your life with a music degree? Like, I think back on that, and if I would have listened to that advice, I would have never, ever been able to live a life where I feel has been genuine to who I am. But yeah, I think that's one of the things, like, I finally got to that point, because I think that you always have advice thrown to you from so many different places, people in your life. And I think once I realized who I should take the advice from, that changed, that really changed my future.
Well, there's a lot of naysayers out there, and you have, as part of the learning process in life in general, I think you have to learn to tune out the noise and do what's right for you. And that's not an easy thing to learn. It is definitely a skill that takes practice. You have to hone that skill and really focus on learning that. It's very tough, because so often the noise seeps in, and it can change your mindset completely.
Yep.
So you gotta stay true to who you are and what you want in life, and sometimes tune this shit out, tune certain people out. What do they say? Surround yourself with like-minded people, right? Or people better than you. That way you're learning.
Yes. I always, taking it back to the music, I love Prince, and
Me too.
Reading that about him, that he always surrounded himself, or tried to at least, with people that were better than him.
Mm-hmm. And he was an incredible musician. Right. Incredible. Like from another world musician. Yeah. Like Jimi Hendrix type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he was out of this world for his time, and Prince is just one of those guys, one of those rare guys that comes along. Mm-hmm. Who would you say are the 3 people that have been most influential in your life?
Oh, only 3. This is a hard one.
I love it. I love that I'm able to make you think.
You really are.
This is great.
I thought so much about this, but then when you get in the conversation and you really kind of, reflect back, you think back about a lot of this. I would say probably the most 3 influential have been my mother, my husband, and I'm going to kind of have a blanket answer over the rest. The teachers that have come into my life, whether it was at Berkeley or whether in, the more corporate world, or there definitely has been like this handful or these handful of people that instilled something in me or always believed in me, and they were just great teachers. So I would say some of the fantastic teachers in my life.
Okay, awesome. How would you like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as someone who made a difference, and really had an impact on people's lives. And I really try to do that every day, as much as I can. I know I teach a part-time class at a university here in Pittsburgh called Point Park University, and my students give me so much inspiration. So I always am looking for ways that I can help them and share some of the knowledge that I have learned through my career, and make a difference in their lives. And through the work at Women Who Rock, I really hope that we can continue to make a difference in ways that we know of. We have a lot of women that reach out to us constantly on social media that, thank us for a post that we shared that was inspirational, that for whatever reason that day, it really made a difference in their lives when they read that post, or the money that we raise that we're able to help fund women's health research. I mean, that has a great impact on the lives of women around the world. So I think that we have one life to live, and what we do with that time is really important.
Isn't that one of the most incredible feelings when you get a message from someone thanking you for something you did just out of the blue? Like it's so incredible. It really is. It's one of the most incredible feelings in the world.
I agree 100%.
It just, it lights me up. I love stuff like that. It's amazing to know that something you did that you view possibly as just, I'm just doing it. It's just this little thing, but it means so much to other people. And that is incredible.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't even know, like you mentioned.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. But that's what doing the type of work that we do, the selfless work. And that's what it's all about, is making a difference. And you're obviously making a difference with Women Who Rock. So kudos to you for doing that. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. And we have a really awesome team. We have an event committee of 15 women that volunteer their time to help us put on the concert. And we meet once a month. And that's been a whole nother fantastic thing that has come out of the work for Women Who Rock, because these women, I mean, we have all walks of life. We have cancer survivors, we have moms, we have women that have struggled with different health issues. We have professors, we have doctors, we have artists, we have entrepreneurs, but we found through this event committee one very common message of empowerment and lifting each other up. And we really are more than just an event committee. We've really become a sisterhood of women. So I'm really proud of that aspect of it too.
Amazing. Speaking of empowerment, what does that word mean to you? What does empowerment mean to you?
That word really means, especially when we're talking about women, amplifying your voice, and not only amplifying your voice, but feeling comfortable enough to amplify your voice. And there are so many different ways that you can do that in your everyday life. I mean, we want to empower women to use their voice on stage, doctor's office, at home with their partners, if you're at the board table. I really do think it's all about that amplification of your voice.
I love that meaning. I think that's incredible. I absolutely love it.
Thank you.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
One word. I'd like to think of myself as fearless.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is it.
Money or fame?
I thought about this a lot. And I ultimately think fame, because I think that if you have the platform of being famous, and in our society, for whatever reason, people love to listen to famous people. And
hero worship.
yeah, right. So I think that with the right platform and the right message, that fame is one of the most powerful things that you could do. So I choose that because I feel like you can really get the right message to a lot of people.
Use your voice and your platform for good. I love it.
Exactly.
Early bird or night owl?
I'm an early bird.
What makes you smile?
A great cup of coffee in the morning.
That's pretty simple. If you had 24 hours left on Earth, what would you do?
I would take my guitar and I would go to some beautiful beach somewhere with a great margarita and take the people I love with me and my dog. And that's what I'd be doing.
Beautiful. Lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
That piece of advice would have been, I wish it wouldn't have taken me quite so long to know my true calling. Not on the music side. I've known that for my whole entire life, but more on the career side. For too long, I am not, and I only know this now, in the past couple years, I am not formulated to be somebody that is tied to a chair all day long. It's not me. It totally derails my creativity, my work ethic. It's just, like I mentioned, I am a doer. I love to be in a room with people. I love to interact with people. I love to meet new people. I'd love to, go to conferences and meet somebody and learn, about what they're doing and how we can partner and both amplify our message, back to that collaboration part. I just wish that, I wish that, I would have known that more about myself when I was like graduating from college at 25.
Awesome. I love it. Well, Melinda, thank you so very much for agreeing to be a guest and for sharing a bit of your story and your journey and everything that you do, these organizations, the Pitch Consulting and Women Who Rock, especially. I think it's an incredible organization. So thank you for the work you're doing there. But it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you, and I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. And I want to thank you and tell you that I appreciate you and everything you're doing for women in music and health industry and all of it. And just thank you for helping me by being part of this movement that I'm creating, by giving women like yourself a voice and a platform to share your story and get the word out there about what you're doing and to help other women. So I just want you to know I really appreciate you and appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure. And thank you for providing this space and this platform and a way for women to share their stories and connect with each other. It's another great example of you creating a community around this. And I really appreciate it as well.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography Podcast. My guest today has been Melinda Colaizzi. She is the founder, creator of Women Who Rock and Pitch Consulting, based in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Thank you so much again, Melinda. I hope you have an amazing afternoon and a great rest of the week.
You do the same, Brad.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.